Hello friends, this is the second in our series of video devotionals, and today our second psalm is Psalm 74. That will be the psalm I'm preaching on this coming week. And this devotional is not going to tell you everything about Psalm 74, but it is going to start to get you ready, to get your mind prepared through the work of the Holy Spirit to study it, to think about it before I preach on it on Sunday morning. It's a psalm of lament. So the first psalm, Psalm 1, was what I called a tidy psalm, a psalm of orientation. This is a psalm of lament, very different tone. And I'm going to add, first thing I would like you to do, and I'm going to have you do it, I'm not going to do it for you because it would take too long. Read the first 8 verses with this question in mind. Can you tell the specific historical situation that caused this psalm to be written? What is the historical situation that led to the writing of this psalm? That's my question for you as you read verses 1 through 8. And here's my second question for you. Now read verses 9 through 11. How does this ultimately make the psalmist feel? How does this historical situation make the psalmist feel in verses 9 through 11? And specifically, I want to read to you verse 11. The psalmist says to God out of his lament, "Why do you hold back your hand? Take it from the fold of your garments and destroy your enemies." Why do you hold back your hand? Take it from the fold of your garment and destroy your enemies. When I read that, if I contemporize it, it sounds to me like in verse 11, the psalmist is saying to God, "Lord, take your hand out of your pocket. Take your hand out of your pocket and do something. Our enemies are destroying us." Now, if that's a fair modernization of what the psalmist is saying, is that any way to talk to God? And what does it mean about the relationship between the psalmist and God if the psalmist speaks to God in that way, with that tone? Now, after reading verses 9 through 11, read verses 12 through 17. Now the psalmist sort of entertains an answer for his lament. Where does the psalmist look to find some kind of hope in his lament? Where does he turn his eyes? Where does he turn his heart? And how does that turn help him? How does the place where he goes help his heart? And how might it help us in our times of lament? And now finally, read verses 18 through 24, the end of the psalm. Is the psalmist's lament resolved at the end of the psalm? Are all his questions answered? Is he feeling good after starting with lament? Or is he still confused? And what changes from the beginning to the end of the psalm? Does anything change? It may be a specific way to measure that change. What difference would it make if a whole group of people prayed this psalm together in a situation of lament? How much? Because a lot of these psalms, right, were prayed in groups with people together in worship. How would a group of people who are in a lament state be helped by praying this psalm together? How would the Holy Spirit help them and use them, and what would the Holy Spirit do through this psalm to bring a productive change? Those are my questions for you as I prepare for Sunday. Hopefully I'll see you Sunday.